That's kind of how you build that topical authority and you become the go-to for that type of person.
And I guess the other big factor is also so for my brand at the moment, I don't really have any unique products. All the products is just from Alibaba. A lot of people are selling on Amazon. It's just about getting it in front of the right people at the moment. So I'm sort of more almost like a Kogan JB Hi-Fi for calling product at the moment.
Yeah, so that's where you're building the brand and getting becoming the go-to place for that stuff for a particular type of person is going to be critical. Whether that is, hey, we are the number one cooling brand for tradies that like a cool brand that want to buy really good products, rather than going to Kogan or rather than price shopping us on Amazon. They come to us because we are for everything about us is specifically for that person. Right? And it's their brand. It's not just a general Temu Kogan store for everybody. It's cooling for tradies or cooling for mums with newborns, and everything speaks to that one profile of person. So that
can start building a bit of sort of expertise within the area. That's where I can maybe apply value. I'm starting to learn that what you use for cooling in humid Queensland is going to be different to, say, Adelaide, dry, kind of hot. Whereas Adelaide, you might use humidifier or different things, which doesn't do anything in humid weather. Whereas maybe in Queensland, circulating the air under your shirt that provides relief from the sweating. So I think that's maybe some of the stuff that I can start doing.
It's where your authority, your topical authority positioning starts to come in. As I said, because you're kind of going divergent and you're kind of learning about all these things. Now that you know them, when you kind of converge back to, well, we are now the specialists in cooling for tradies, right? For example, let's say we end up there. Now all of your content is about, hey, if you're a tradie in Queensland, we know that it's humid and you're going to need a humidifier, versus, hey, if you're a FIFO guy in Northern Territory and it's really dry heat, you're going to need this thing. And they go, oh, well, they understand the problems that I'm trying to go through. So because I feel like they understand me, they've probably procured these products specifically for my problem. And that's kind of how you build that topical authority and you become the go-to for that type of person. And they're not going to price shop you on Kogan and Temu and Amazon, because you become their cooling brand.
Yeah, sure.
So that feels like the process that you kind of need to go through over the next 90 days. Kind of start to, particularly the next 90 days as we kind of move out of summer a bit and kind of move into autumn and the weather starts to change, particularly in Melbourne, East Coast, kind of see as the weather starts to change a bit, sort of see what the buying patterns become. Because you haven't been through this season before in business.
Yeah, I haven't been through a lot of things at the moment, but everything's kind of new. So it's exciting.